The Type 100 is the best SMG in Warzone. It will kill your enemies over 10% faster than the MP40, which means you'll have the upper hand in any gunfight. I'm BillyCrock, I'm a top 5% Warzone player, and I make short and informative guides for Warzone to give you a huge advantage when facing any opponent. So let's jump straight into the beginner level attachments. However, if you have this gun partially or fully leveled up, then skip to the mid-level or fully leveled attachments in the timeline or chapters below. So, looking at the muzzle, we're not going to be taking anything here, as the first option just reduces your sprint to fire speed and hip fire accuracy, which aren't really areas that you want to be damaging on an SMG, because that mobility is something that really is valued on them. On the barrel, nothing here, because it hinders your damage range, whilst not really giving you anything of real value in return. So again, not an area we want to be damaging. Then over to the optic, we're taking the NIDAR model 47 to give you that little bit extra clarity, just so that you're not having to struggle looking down those iron sights. And then over to the stock, take the Warebachi skeletal to give you additional sprint to fire speed and movement speed. Again, mobility is really key on SMGs, so this is a really good attachment. And then moving on to the underbarrel, we're not taking anything here either, as the first option just reduces aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. Again, not areas you want to be affecting on an SMG too much. And then moving over to the magazine, take the 8mm Nambu 30 round mags, just so you can reload that a little bit quicker, just to stop you getting caught out in those sort of tricky situations. And then over to the ammunition, we're taking the F&J rounds to give you that little bit extra bullet penetration, as you know, it doesn't go amiss. And then onto the rear grip, take the stippled grip for additional recoil recovery and initial firing recoil control, allowing you just to stay on target that little bit easier. And then moving over to perk 1, take acrobatic for increased movement speed and sprinting move speed, allowing you just to fly around the map a little bit easier. And then on to perk 2, take fast melee, as it just allows you to melee your enemies that little bit quicker. You can see the full build on the screen now. And then over to the mid-level attachments. For the muzzle, we're going to be taking the Mercury Silencer, just to give you sound suppression, horizontal recoil control, and bullet velocity without giving you any negative impacts. So a really great attachment here. And then over to the barrel, we're not going to be taking any of the mid-level attachments, just because all the negatives outweigh the positives, as in they don't give enough back to warrant taking them. So just leave this attachment slot blank. And then over to the optic, we're going to be taking the slate reflector, as this gives you the clearest possible picture, meaning you're going to be able to spot your enemies that little bit easier. Then onto the stock, we are taking the Warebachi skeletal yet again, as the sprint to fire speed and movement speed are really key on this weapon. And then onto the underbarrel, take the M1915 steady for additional hip fire accuracy and recoil control. And then over to the magazine, take the .30 Russian short 36 round mags for additional damage range, damage, bullet penetration, and bullet velocity. Yes, this does reduce your recoil control and fire rate. To be honest, it gives you a much faster time to kill and will absolutely delete your enemies. So just make sure you stick with this one. And then over to the ammunition type, take subsonic, just to make sure you're not pinging up on the minimap when you're shooting, so enemies can't see where you're at. And then over to the rear grip, make sure you're taking taped grip for additional aiming stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, which is really key by the way, and then sprint to fire speed. All of these advantages are just huge for an SMG, and to be honest, this is the go-to grip for any SMG. And then over to perk 1, acrobatic yet again. This is the best perk on perk 1, as it'll give you additional movement speed and sprinting movement speed. And then over to perk 2, make sure you're using surplus to give you 20% extra weapon XP whilst using this gun, meaning you're just going to level it up and unlock all the additional attachments a lot faster. So take this the moment you unlock it. You can see the full build on the screen now. And lastly, taking a look at the fully leveled attachments, we are taking on the muzzle the recoil booster for increased rate of fire, just allowing you to kill your enemies that much faster. So it's a really key attachment. And then over to the barrel, we are taking the Warebachi 134mm rapid. This is going to give you a faster rate of fire, more damage range. Yes, it will impact your damage, but overall your time to kill will be increased, as the rate of fire outweighs the damage loss. And then over to the optic, make sure you're taking the slate reflector yet again, as it's the most precise picture possible, allowing you to see your enemies just that little bit clearer. And then over to the stock, take the Warebachi folding grip for additional aim walking movement speed, aim walking steadiness, and initial fire and recoil control. Again, these are all really important areas. And then over to the underbarrel, we are taking the M1941 hand stop for the most recoil control with as minimal negatives as possible. And then over to the magazine, yes, we are taking the .30 Russian short 36 round mags again, as it gives you increased damage range, damage, bullet penetration, and bullet velocity. Yes, it does reduce your rate of fire and movement speed and things like this, but the increased damage really outweighs that reduced rate of fire. And for the ammunition, we are taking subsonic yet again, as it just stops you appearing up on those enemies minimaps, allowing you to stop being third-partied so much. And then over to the rear grip, take the taped grip yet again, as it increases aiming stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, which is really key by the way, and then sprint to fire speed as well, whilst leading to absolutely no negatives. This is an absolute must for all SMGs, this attachment. And then for perk 1, take acrobatic for increased movement speed and sprinting move speed, allowing you just to fly around the map, making you really mobile. And then for perk 2, take quick for increased sprint speed, alongside Alongside this and all the other mobility attachments, you're going to be absolutely flying around Caldera, Fortune's Keep, or Rebirth Island, whichever one you play. It's an absolute must-have. You can see the full build on the screen now. And if you're looking for the best assault rifle to pair this SMG with, take a look at this video I just made. It's for the Cooper Carbine. This gun absolutely beams across the entire map and is simply the best assault rifle in Warzone at the moment. If you did enjoy this video though, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.